Welcome to day 14. It's a little bit rainy out here this morning. I got a rain jacket on just in case it starts to come down on me. About 10 years ago, I lived in a place called Encinitas, California. It's a little sleepy town in Southern California. It's kind of a surfing town. We had moved there from Maui. And I got it in my head that I would get fit by going to CrossFit. And so I joined a local CrossFit gym. But being a little bit more extreme, I joined a CrossFit gym that was run by a famous Navy SEAL there, Mark Devine. And I was about a month into the program there. It wasn't fun, wasn't enjoying it, and I quit. I gave up. And it was because I felt like I was going to hurt myself, and it wasn't the right form of exercise at the time. However, they had this thing called Kokoro, which was a 50-hour Navy SEAL challenge. And I thought, wow, that would be great to do someday. But to get into that challenge, you had to pass a physical standard test, which was a PST. And I remember thinking, well, what's the PST? And the test was basically that you had to be able to do 50 push-ups consecutively under 2 minutes, 50 sit-ups under 2 minutes, 50 air squats under 2 minutes. And so when I looked at that initial list, I thought I could probably manage to do all those with a little bit of time and workout. But the next one caught me. The next one was I had to do 10 pull-ups, full pull-ups, no cheating or anything. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting because I can only do like one pull-up now. How would I ever get to 10? And then you end that all off with the mile. But what I respected about the challenge and about the PST was they had a minimum requirement that was, because they didn't want to hurt people going into the challenge. And they wanted people, I had seen people go into other challenges before and not do so well. And the difference of levels was just too great. And it was this idea of a standard, and it kind of stuck with me for many years, actually. And I ended up actually doing that challenge many years later. Another time, another story. But the idea of standards stuck with me, and I realized that there is a minimum base standard. So for that particular test, or for that particular 50-hour crucible, they had a physical standard test, and if you didn't pass it, you didn't get in. You could start it, but if you didn't pass that after a certain period of time, a number of hours in, then you weren't allowed to continue on. So for something like the million-step challenge, first of all, if you're thinking of doing something like this, work up to it. This is probably my 5th year of doing things for my body, but really my 2nd year of really going a little bit longer distances. So I've worked up to this. So for this, the minimum steps I need to get per day is basically 33,000 steps. I'm gonna step over here just under an overhang because the wind's kind of kicking up here, so you don't have to hear that wind. The minimum amount of steps would be 33,000 steps per day. And so I kind of set that as my minimum daily goal is 33,000. But I put my daily goal a little bit higher. So there's a minimum goal, and then there's really a target base standard, which is 40,000 a day. Because I know there might be a day or two where I can't walk or something happens, and so I want to build in some extra steps so that if that happens, it doesn't derail me from my goal. It's about having no excuses. And then I have my minimum base standard is 25K, and that means I really need to get my morning workout in every day. And then I'll sacrifice sleep even if I can't get up to that 25K, because I don't want to build up extra steps and then fail. Now, what I learned about the minimum standard is that there's a minimum standard, but when I got into that Navy SEAL, I realized that some people are well above the minimum standard. So it's one thing to just enter the race and to complete the race, and it's another thing to compete in the race. And if you want to really be a competitor or actually win it, then you have to go way beyond the minimum standard. So for this stepping challenge, I'm competing against other men in my group, and I know one just this last Sunday ran an ultra marathon, so he did 50 miles that same day I clocked about 34 miles. So to win this, first of all, you don't need to do the million steps. It's just a personal step challenge. So to win my personal challenge, to meet my standard, I need a million steps. But in reality, if I want to compete in this group, then I have to raise my standard actually even higher than the minimum to hit my goal. So I'm guessing that in this challenge, I'll probably hit closer to 1.5 million steps when all is said and done, which is interesting. And then I'll say that there's a third level of standard where you actually set the standard. And so the current goal for steps in one day inside our group is 125,000, which the guy that just ran the ultra set last week. So he's really kicking ass. He basically set a new standard. And so there's meet the minimum standard, then there's raise the standard, and then there's set the standard. And you know, the greatest people in history set new standards. They're not happy with what everybody else has done, and they set a new standard. So for me, it could be a personal standard for definitely I'll do more steps this month than I've ever done before. And then for the group, you know, maybe I can set a new standard for the most steps done in that group for a month. And then now that he's done the 125,000, I've started to think, how could I make a go at maybe walking for 24 hours? I kind of thought, well, if I walk 24 hours in a row, start at 12 a.m. and finish at 11:59 p.m., you know, 24 hours of walking, and I do about 6,500 steps on average an hour, that would put me about 150,000 steps for the day. And then that would not only set a new personal goal for me, but also set a new standard for the group. And so that's setting the standard. So I think it's an interesting thing to think through different areas of your life, whether you're writing copy, videos, writing words for a book, whatever you're doing, you can kind of set that base standard, really know what it takes to be prolific or to be highly successful in your field, not just be average. You don't just want to be average, I don't think, in life. It's kind of a weird way to go through life. And also, like, there might be one or two areas where you're like, I want to be the GOAT or the greatest of all time. I want to actually set the standard in the field. Okay, that's it for now. Day 13 is underway here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.